What's going on, guys? Welcome into the Chiefs Zone podcast. My name is Farzin Vasugian. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day to all of you. Hope your week is going well. It is July the 2nd. We are halfway through the 2025 calendar year. Yeah, wow. 2025, already halfway there. And it has been quite an eventful year for the Kansas City Chiefs with their postseason run, the way it ended, and obviously all of the stadium talk. Obviously, it's been a very busy offseason for Kansas City as well. A lot to go over here, and I have talked about the Chiefs and their roster ad nauseum at this point, and right now we're just kind of playing the waiting game for training camp. And I think it is important to kind of go over, because we haven't really done that much on this podcast. Who's the biggest threat to Kansas City? Which AFC teams are going to challenge the Chiefs the most? We're going to spend some time talking about that here on this podcast. Also, we have more stadium talk. Woohoo! Yeah, everyone loves stadium talk, especially at this point right now. Those star bonds were supposed to expire 2 days ago. I mean, I guess technically they're expired right now because they're not officially extended yet. But the word is it'll basically be extended. It would be a big surprise if it did not happen. Patrick Toohey from the Show Me Institute spoke today to Pete Mundo and had some very interesting comments. We are going to play those comments on this podcast for you. Trust me when I say you do not want to miss Patrick Toohey's comments. I only heard the audio version. I didn't get to see Pete's facial reaction on the Facebook version that they put up. I would have loved to see Pete's response to that. The way Patrick was criticizing the state of Kansas and the Chiefs, I don't know if I would have been able to maintain my composure for during that interview. It was one of those interviews where it's like, please keep talking. Give me more. What else you got? Keep talking. Keep saying stuff. Patrick Toohey had a lot to say, so we will play that for you, and I will respond to that. And whatever else comes up. Not going to be a very long podcast here. Like I said, we're in July. We're just playing the waiting game. And by the way, happy 4th of July to all of you. Hope you all have a safe and a great 4th of July. Don't do anything crazy. I know there's a Jason Pierre-Paul joke somewhere in there. I'll let you guys crack a JPP joke here and there. I'll avoid those. I think I've exhausted all of my JPP jokes over the years, so I'll let you guys have fun with that. By the way, for those watching on Instagram, can you guys say hello? Because I've been told Instagram has had some glitches here and there, so I just want to make sure things are working on the Instagram front. Just to make sure, because I've been told StreamYard's had some tech issues involving Instagram, but hopefully that's been sorted by now. Before we get into the podcast, I want to let you know this podcast is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is where I go to for all of my sports ticketing needs. Chiefs, Royals, KU, K-State, Mizzou, the current Sporting KC. It doesn't have to be in the Kansas City area. It can be anywhere, really. Anything where you can attend a sporting event, a concert, you can get it on SeatGeek. And if you're a new SeatGeek customer, you can use my promo code Farzine and save $20 off your first purchase from SeatGeek. Go to SeatGeek.com, get your tickets, and at checkout, new customers can enter my promo code Farzine and save $20 off their first order from SeatGeek. All right. Let's talk about the Chiefs and some of their competition that they could get in the AFC. Actually, I did want to share this because I did put a parlay recently. These are this is one of those, I don't like to call it a crapshoot, but you know, the more teams you bet, the more difficult it is. I did an 8-pick parlay. I picked all of the division winners in the NFL. On the NFC side, I have the Rams. This one might be a surprise to some people. I have the Bucks winning the South. This is also going to be a surprise to some people. I have the Commanders winning the East in a very close race. I think the Eagles are going to have one of those wild card spots where it's going to be a very Like they're going to be well above a wild card team. Kansas City had that several years ago. And then in the North, I think it's pretty obvious, but I am picking the Lions to win the North. In the AFC, I have the Ravens winning the North, the Bills winning the East, the Texans winning the South. You all know who's winning the West. I mean, come on. I don't need to say it. You guys already know. So that leads me to the topic of the podcast that I want to get into here. Who is going to challenge Kansas City? Let's start with the division here. Obviously, the Chiefs won 15 games last year. The Chargers won 11. They were 11-6. Big improvement from last year. And the Denver Broncos, also a big improvement from last year, finishing 10-7 on the season. For Denver, they had a rookie quarterback and struggled in some road games. And I think that's normal when you have a rookie quarterback who is going through that learning curve. Denver also, defensively speaking, led the league in sacks. I mean, that is one of my favorite team stats, other than wins and losses, leading the league in sacks. Because you do something like that, majority of the time, you're going to have a very good defense. And I say a majority of the time because the Chiefs co-led the NFL in sacks in 2018, but we know that was a really bad defense. And I think it helped that the Chiefs played a lot of snaps defensively that year. And it was kind of a weird year for the Chiefs defensively. That did lead to the exit of defensive coordinator Bob Sutton. But generally speaking, when you have that many sacks, you're going to do good things. And the Denver Broncos had a really good defense last year. In fact, if you look at their point differential in games, it was plus 114, the best in the AFC West. The Chargers, here's what I think with the Chargers, and I'm seeing some of these like top 10, top 5, top 10 quarterback rankings, and I'm seeing Justin Herbert really high on a lot of these. Charles McDonald from Yahoo Sports had Justin Herbert number 5. There is no way in hell Justin Herbert's the 5th best quarterback in the NFL. I'm sorry, he's not. Justin Herbert has great talent, but there's no way in hell he's number 5. He's just not. I mean, obviously, the top 4, Mahomes is number 1, 2 through 4 interchangeable between Burrow, Jackson, and Allen. Now, number 5, I will agree that number 5, I think, can be up for debate. But Justin Herbert's not number 5. There's no way he's number 5. I just don't know as much as I love Jim Harbaugh. I think he's a fantastic football coach. Did some good things with the 49ers, was great in Michigan, and I think he's done a good job helping the Chargers be a better coach football team. But I still have my reservations about the Chargers. If I had to bet who from the AFC West is making the playoffs, it's the Chiefs, number 1, and the Broncos at number 2. I can't put money on the Chargers with that much confidence. I don't have a lot of faith in 3 AFC West teams making the division. They're making the playoffs, excuse me. Part of it is I think we're going to see some competition in this conference, and we'll get into that shortly. But I just don't know about the Chargers. Justin Herbert is, for me, kind of hot and cold. And I just kind of wonder what the ceiling is for the Chargers with him. Because I think there is a ceiling. You've had 2 terrible postseason games with Justin Herbert so far. Let's go to the AFC South. The Texans, who the Chiefs have met in a couple of postseason games, also played them close in 2 regular season games last year. I mean, the Texans are a team that are very familiar with Kansas City. Another team also familiar with Kansas City, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have played. We've seen a lot of matchups between Trevor Lawrence and Patrick Mahomes over the years. The Chiefs have won all 4 of those meetings. The Colts, I'm not quite sure what kind of a football team they will be. The Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward's great, but I don't know if that alone will help. The thing about Jacksonville is I think they have tried so many different things over the years. I just don't know how much confidence you have in that organization right now. They've had so many different head coaches. Isn't Trevor Lawrence on his fourth head coach? I mean, you have Liam Cohen now, so I don't know exactly how that's going to go. Rookie head coaches are always the interesting ones there, as ESPN is letting me know about the U.S. men's national team leading Guatemala. That's good. I still think ultimately this is Houston's division. If there was a division that I could easily predict and bet money on and say, yeah, this is the clear-cut winner, it's the Texans. Maybe the Colts or Titans could be that dark horse team that nobody sees coming. Maybe Jacksonville can find a way to improve under Liam Cohen, but I'm not holding my breath on that. I'm not. That is Houston's division. Now we've got two very interesting divisions here. We've already gone over the AFC West, but when you go to the AFC East, you've got the Buffalo Bills. You have the Miami Dolphins. And I know this was not a great year for the Miami Dolphins, a very heartbreaking ending. And a team that I think expects more. Obviously, with Tua, you wonder with his future, short-term and long-term, what it's going to be like. I think that defense certainly needs improvement as well. The Jets, what are they going to look like? The Patriots are a very popular dark horse team. It would not surprise me if Mike Vrabel got his second Coach of the Year award this year. And I've said this many times, I think the Titans are going to absolutely regret letting Mike Vrabel go. I'll tell you right now, like, Andy Reid's great. No question about it. There's only one head coach I would take right now over Andy Reid, and that's Mike Vrabel. And the only reason for that is because Andy Reid's up there in age. Like, if it was up to me and I could handpick one person to be the head coach of the Chiefs right now, other than Andy Reid, I'd want Mike Vrabel. And in fact, when Florio was trying really hard to push that retirement rumor with Andy Reid, the rumor was that Belichick was interested and that Vrabel was interested in the Chiefs job, and obviously it did not end up mattering, not one bit. But that's how highly I think of Mike Vrabel. I mean, didn't they almost go to a Super Bowl with Ryan freaking Tannehill at one point? They were up by 10 against the Chiefs in the AFC title game. And as you know, you can never rule out the Chiefs. But man, look at what Tennessee has had to work with. I remember 1 year they lost Derrick Henry and they still got the 1 seed. Now, they didn't do anything in the playoffs, unfortunately, but for Vrabel to be able to get the 1 seed without Derrick Henry, I mean, that just shows you, like, give Mike Vrabel talent and he'll be able to do it. And right now, New England, they're trying to build a foundation. New England is a popular dark horse pick. New England is currently one of the wild card teams in some of the projections out there by some experts. So I like the way the Patriots are building their football team right now. Buffalo, I mean, listen, this is their division still, but I think they're going to have a couple of wild card teams from this division here. Miami, maybe New England, maybe I shouldn't really pencil Miami in. But I do think you get two teams, Buffalo and either Miami or New England. Let's go to the North here. And this is probably the most interesting division here, as you got the Baltimore Ravens. They've really dominated the division since Lamar Jackson's been there. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Steelers, just historically speaking, have always had a really good defense. I loved Pittsburgh's defense last year, and I think it's going to be even better this year, especially with that trade recently, getting Jalen Ramsey. How much does that help Pittsburgh and adding Jonnu Smith? We'll see. They obviously have Aaron Rodgers. Does Aaron Rodgers just need a better environment to be in? I don't know. Is Pittsburgh that place? It's one of the, listen, they won 10 games last year. Okay. Russell Wilson was their quarterback, and they also were using Justin Fields. Aaron Rodgers had good numbers. It's just the Jets weren't winning games with him. So we'll see if the Steelers can continue to be a double-digit team or maybe be even better than a 10-win team. We'll see. The Cincinnati Bengals, this is probably the most interesting team, not just in the AFC, but in all of the NFL. You lost Joe Burrow midway 2 seasons ago. You finished 9-8. Jake Browning actually did not bad. I think in terms of numbers, Jake Browning and Joe Burrow were pretty damn close. But they had no offensive line. They had no defense that year. Last year, same story. No offensive line, no defense, but the offense really exploded. They might have been the most dynamic and best offense in the league last year. You had the Triple Crown wide receiver. You had the passing leader in Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But you once again were a 9-win football team. And I think people would argue the offensive line and the defense were worse last year than they were the year before, which was kind of hard because they were already really bad. I mean, listen, any elite quarterback, whether it's Patrick Mahomes, and we've seen some of the offensive line issues with Patrick Mahomes over the years, or Joe Burrow, who's also had some offensive line issues the last couple of years, Josh Allen, whoever, as long as they have an offensive line, they can win with anybody. Now, if you have Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney as your premier wide receivers, you're in trouble because those guys can't catch. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are ballers. No one with a brain is questioning that or even debating it. But the problem with the Bengals, number one, when it came to close games, they weren't able to capitalize and put teams away. And if you look at their win differential, they were at plus 38. It's not great, especially for a team that has those 3 playmakers in Burrow, Higgins, and Chase. Obviously, they've got some new coaches in there. We don't know what's going on with Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart. We heard Trey Hendrickson contract negotiations were going on as of a couple of weeks ago, but we still haven't heard anything yet. And I'll be honest about that. That one is a weird one where I feel like a lot of damage has been done. I mean, I'm not saying Trey Hendrickson is going to just be lazy all of a sudden, but is he really going to want to play hard for this team, even if they pay him? I mean, he has said a lot of things, and so is Shamar Stewart, that I've never heard players say before. We have heard contract drama before, and I don't want to get into this too much because I've talked about this before, but boy, they have said some things about their teams that nobody else has ever said before. The Cincinnati Bengals, you could argue, yeah, maybe they are a team that could easily get the number 1 seed, but they've got to have a good overall team, and they don't have that right now. And listen, I think Joe Burrow has to bear some of the responsibility for what happened last year, because I think in close game situations, he didn't do a good job of capitalizing and stepping up in those close moments last year. Because people always want to talk about Kansas City and their close games last year. The Bengals struggled in a lot of close games last year. I mean, I'd rather squeeze by and get a lot of wins than not. And unfortunately for the Bengals, they were on the losing side of some of those close games. But I think at the end of the day, I have no doubts with the offense, specifically the quarterback and the 2 wide receivers, Yoshi Wash as well. But the offensive line is still a question mark. I think it'll be better, but by how much, I don't know. The defense, I still have no idea. I mean, who did you add that leads you to believe they'll be better? I have no clue what that defense is going to look like. And I mean that in a negative way. I think the bad part here is, listen, every quarterback wants their wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. But when you have an elite quarterback like Burrow, there's no reason to pay wide receiver 2. Yoshi Vosh can do whatever Higgins did, especially when Burrow's your quarterback. I think they overspent at the wide receiver, specifically wide receiver 2. And that's going to lead them to not having anyone reliable on defense. And again, we don't know what's going on with Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart, but they don't look like they're going to back down and unless they get what they're asking for. So let's look at the AFC one more time here. Teams that I think are going to have a serious shot at making the playoffs. Okay, obviously the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Texans, the Ravens, the Steelers I'll put in there, and the Bengals. I'm at 6. The Buffalo Bills. I mean, those are 7 teams right there. Miami and New England are going to be competitors. And I think if there is going to be a dark horse team from the AFC, I think it might be one of those teams that's not Houston. I know I said earlier New England's a popular dark horse team. Is there really such thing as a popular dark horse team? I mean, I guess so. I mean, if a lot of people are saying, hey, this team's going to be better, well, I guess it's not going to be unexpectedly better because a lot of people are predicting it. So I guess New England is the popular dark horse team that I guess people are expecting to do well, to improve after being a 4-win team last year. If there is going to be a dark horse team, like a true unexpected, where the hell did this team come from? I think it's coming from the South. Maybe Jacksonville or Tennessee. The Raiders, possibly. Here's my thing with the Raiders, because I've seen the Raiders start off 3-0. Remember in 2021 when the Chiefs were in trouble, they got off to a slow start. Mahomes was leading the league in picks. The Chargers and the Broncos led the NFL. Or I'm sorry, not led the NFL. We're leading the division. They were both 3-0 that year. They started 3-0. Let me just double check on that to be sure. In 2021, yeah, the Broncos started 3-0, and then they crashed into a wall and lost 4 straight. The Raiders, they started 3-0 as well, and they actually hung in there. I mean, they had some really difficult points, but they finished the game on a 4-game win streak, and then they lost to Cincinnati in a close one in the playoffs. So they were able to. That was the one where they were willing to tie the game with the Chargers in week 17 or week 18. I can't remember if we had 18 games or 17 games by then. But the Raiders. Here's my thing with the Raiders, because someone mentioned this on Instagram, by the way, that they haven't won a playoff game since January 19, 2003. Yeah, it's been a long time. They've made the playoffs twice. One of them, Derek Carr, got injured, and I think the backup quarterback also got injured, so they ended up starting a rookie QB in the playoffs, which was just disaster for them. And then they played the Bengals, as I mentioned, in the other playoff game. Look, I'm a big fan of Pete Carroll, and I'm glad he's back to coaching. I hate that it's in the AFC West, and specifically the Raiders. He brought in Geno Smith. And I do like Ashton Gentry. I do. But here's my thing. With the Raiders, it is still, I'll see it when I believe it. Or I'll believe when I see it, excuse me. Because haven't we heard this many times? Remember when Devontae Adams was there? And that was the same year Tyreek Hill got traded. And looks like the Chiefs are going to fail, folks. Remember that narrative? And the Raiders were supposed to be great. They were choking games that year. And then who was it? Antonio Pierce was the savior. He was going to help the Raiders rise to relevancy. Why? Because he beat Patrick Mahomes on Christmas, when Patrick Mahomes made the 2 worst mistakes in the span of 7 seconds of his career. And the quarterback didn't complete a pass for the last 3 quarters. That was why. Didn't they lose the game 3-0 to the Vikings that year? And they still hired AP to be their full-time head coach? He didn't even last a full 365 days as the head coach. The same guy who said we have the recipe to beat Patrick Mahomes. Remember that? That guy was supposed to save the Raiders. So here's my thing. Again, I think the Raiders have to, and I didn't mention Brock Bowers, phenomenal player. Did a great job last year for the Raiders. But it's still the Raiders. I'll believe it when I see it. Because I have heard many, many times over the last 22, 23 years where they haven't won a playoff game. Oh, this is our year. This is going to be the year for improvement. I've heard that many times from Raider Nation. Listen, they're a passionate bunch, but what reason do I have to believe that they'll be better? We still can't give them the benefit of the doubt. Would you bet on the Raiders right now? I wouldn't. I had more confidence in the Raiders 2 or 3 years ago when Devontae Adams joined that team. Derek Carr had every weapon you could have asked for. And I'll tell you right now, even though the Chiefs won the Super Bowl that year, I mean, you had Travis Kelce, who was great. But, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Travis Kelce broke the single season record for receiving yards by a tight end. The second time in his career he had done that. The first time he did it, it was broken by George Kittle 30 minutes later, which is crazy. But that group of offensive players, who they have that year, they had Darren Waller, who just came out of retirement. They had Josh Jacobs. They had Devontae Adams. I don't know if you could have asked for a better running back, wide receiver, tight end trio for Derek Carr, and he failed to win with them. I mean, like head to head, if you compared the best running back, wide receiver, and tight end from the Raiders and compared it to the Chiefs that year, because the Chiefs had who? Isaiah Pacheco, Travis Kelce, and who was the best wide receiver that year? Juju, maybe, or MVS, one of those two. I mean, it wasn't. Travis Kelce is better than all of those players, but as far as an overall group, I would have taken those Raiders players. And Derek Carr failed with those guys. So this is a team that, they've tried it with so many different head coaches. I'll believe it when I see it. Do I think they've got a chance to be a dark horse team? Sure. Would Bowers be my number one tight end this year? I mean, he was the number one tight end last year. There was no one better than him at that position. I mean, I don't play fantasy football, but if I did, that's the first tight end I would want to take, even with the lack of star power at the quarterback position, because the Raiders don't really have a lot of reliable players on offense. I think your best players on offense are Brock Bowers, and your second best is Ashton Gentry. We'll see what kind of a player Geno Smith will be, but the Raiders, again, not sound like a broken record. That's one of those I'll see it, I'll believe it when I see it type of deals. That's just the way the Raiders are right now. So if I had to give you my prediction, the 7 teams that will make it to the playoffs, I'm picking Kansas City and Denver from the West. That's 2. Houston from the South. That's 3. The North, I'll pick Baltimore and Pittsburgh, and I'm going to come back to that. I'm at 5. Buffalo is going to be 6, so I have only room for one more. By the way, I'm not going by seeding here. I'm just doing a total tally count here. Chiefs, Broncos, Texans, Ravens. I'm going to come back to the North here. What did I say? Ravens and Steelers or Ravens and Bengals? I can't remember. I'll say Ravens and Bengals. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll pick Buffalo and New England. Those are my 7 teams. Kansas City, Denver, Houston, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Buffalo, and New England. Every division is going to have 2 teams except for the South. The South will only have 1 team. The two wildcard teams I have, the 3 wildcard teams I have are Denver, which I think Denver is easily going to be a wildcard team unless they deal with injuries. Cincinnati and New England, those are kind of tough predictions. I think New England's on the rise. New England's going to be a way better football team this year than last year. I mean, let's just get that out of the way right now. Cincinnati, I don't know. I don't know what kind of a football team Cincinnati is going to be. They're going to have to score a lot of points because that defense, they did nothing to improve the defense. They just went and got the D coordinator from, I believe, Notre Dame, if I'm not mistaken, which I think is a great addition. But I don't know if the defensive coordinator was the issue last year for the Bengals. I mean, you literally have no personnel. And the couple players who were worth anything are either gone or pissed off and holding out right now. And then they start slow every year. Cincinnati is a really hard one to predict. Like, again, I'm telling you right now that I think they'll make the playoffs. But am I betting money on that? No. I can't bet money on that. If I was forced to, I guess I will, but not with a lot of confidence. I mean, they are just such a hard team to predict right now. They really are. Who challenges the Chiefs the most for that number one seed? Buffalo, I think, is obviously one of the candidates. Baltimore, I think, is number two. If Cincinnati can get its shit together, I think they're also going to be a team that could challenge. But again, I have to add that, that little caveat there, that warning, like if they can have a good defense, which I don't have a lot of confidence in. I think that the top three teams, Kansas City, Baltimore, and Buffalo, those are going to be your top three in the AFC. And Kansas City visited Baltimore and Buffalo the same postseason, and they won those games. Remember that narrative too? Well, I mean, we talk about this a lot, but I'm just reminded of how often the Chiefs are good at taking a dump on some of these narratives here. But remember that postseason? Oh, Mahomes has never played a true road playoff game before. Well, they beat Buffalo. They beat Baltimore in the AFC title game. And then they went on to win the Super Bowl and make it back to back. But those are going to be the top three teams in the AFC, I think. Raiders need a true number one wide receiver. Yeah, who is their number one wide receiver right now? If I had to look that, I could not tell you without looking that up. Yikes. Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, and rookie Dante Thornton Jr. Dude, they have a lot of rookies. How many wide receivers did this? I mean, they had a shit ton of draft picks, I know, but Jesus Christ. Tommy Mellott, Jack Beck, Colin Johnson. Yeah. Brock Bowers is getting a lot of. Brock Bowers is a great fantasy tight end, y'all. I mean, I think Ashton Gentry is going to be relied on a lot. I do like the addition of Raheem Mostert. I mean, yeah, he's older now, but he's done some good things for Miami and San Francisco in the past. So I think they're going to rely on Mostert a lot more. Like, you're going to have quite a tandem there at the running back position. But yeah, boy. Gino is going to be throwing to Brock a lot this year. Yeah, that's for sure. All right, I am going to get into Patrick Tuohy's comments. And if for those of you who did not hear Patrick Tuohy on KCMO Talk Radio, I will play that clip for you in just a moment. Trust me when I say you need to hear what he had to say, because it was a lot, and I'm not going to play all of it. I'm actually just going to play the highlights. It's about almost 3 minutes long. I played the first half of it is going to be one portion, and I skipped ahead and played a different part of it later on. Boy, he has a lot to say about the state of Kansas and the Chiefs. We'll get into that shortly. Before we move any further, want to let you know about a couple of events that are coming up in the near future that I think you guys should be aware of. Coming up this month, we have what is going to be pretty exciting here, the charity pickleball event hosted by Chiefs tight end Noah Gray and former Chiefs wide receiver Garrett Dieter. This is going to be a really cool event here. Obviously helping out local charities in the area. This is going to be at the North Kansas City location at Chicken and Pickle. It is going to be on Thursday, July the 17th from 5 to 9 p.m. For those of you watching on the video version, there's the QR code right there. Scan it. And by the way, you can get your tickets on there. You can just be a guest, just watch all the action, maybe get a picture or an autograph with some of the players there. I know they have mentioned a couple of players who will be there, a couple more expected to be there as well, current and former players, mind you. So be on the lookout for that. Also, if you want to, you can take part in the pickleball tournament. It's not limited to just local personalities in Kansas City. You can get involved as well. You want to play some pickleball against Garrett Dieter and whoever else? Yeah, you can do so. Scan that QR code, get your tickets there to enroll and participate. That's not the only event I want you guys to be aware of. There's also a watch party that is going to be hosted by Chiefs Hall of Famer Duron Cherry, part of the Duron Cherry Foundation. And it's going to be a very exciting one. This is going to take place at Weston, Missouri at Holiday Distillery there. Duron Cherry is going to be there, obviously. He's going to have some of his fellow Chiefs alums with him there. So if you want to go and catch the first Chiefs game of the season and be able to watch it with some other former Chiefs, rub some elbows, get some pics, get some autographs, all that cool stuff right there, you can do so. Tickets will be available very soon. I'm informed that they are working on the ticket link as we speak. It is going to be $100 per person, and there's only a limited number available. It is going to be all you can eat and drink. Sports legends, including Chiefs alumni, will be there. Giveaways and raffles, and all funds raised will support local Kansas City nonprofits. So you guys want any more information on that, I will let you guys know when that link becomes available. Otherwise, just go to the Duron Cherry Foundation website. It is duroncherryfoundation.org, and you'll be able to get more information there. All right. You guys want to talk about the stadiums? Oh boy. So the Star Bonds were set to expire at the end of June, and it's July the 2nd. Imagine that. So where are we right now? State of Kansas has scheduled a meeting to try to extend the Star Bonds. They basically will. This was requested by Mark Donovan in a formal letter. And we went over this last week, so I'm not going to replay the letter, but he made it very, very clear there is strong interest. I mean, for all the people who think that Kansas is the puppet in all of this and that the Chiefs are using the state of Kansas as leverage, boy, you read that letter, and it's a 2-page letter. They are not using Kansas as leverage. Nothing in that letter indicates that Kansas is being used as leverage. And you'll hear some comments from Patrick Tuohy making it very clear he knows. I mean, he says in parts of the interview that he feels like they're being used, but I don't think the Chiefs feel that way. Because I asked this question the other day: should the Chiefs stay in Missouri or move to Kansas? And I got a couple people saying, "Oh, that's a dumb question, Farzy, and they should stay in Missouri." It's a dumb question, huh? Does Mark Donovan know it's a dumb question? Does Clark Hunt know it's a dumb question? Because don't tell me that. You might want to tell them that. And they're both on Instagram, so you can find a way to access them if you need to inform them of that, because they're the ones who are going to make the decision, not me. And I'm telling you right now, I mean, I just judging off social media, you can smell the fear from the ultra pro Missouri super anti-Kansas crowd. They were not happy. I mean, Mark Donovan was the villain in the state of Missouri that day when this letter was leaked. Oh boy. People in Missouri hate Mark Donovan. I mean, there are people in Missouri who think that Kansas has the teams. They're going to get at least the Chiefs. I'm not ready to say that yet, But it sure feels like Kansas, when you thought Missouri was gaining momentum after the vote, multiple votes approving of the bill, and then the governor getting that bill and signing it, turning it into a law, you thought Missouri might actually have a chance after all the crazy drama they've gone through. Well, what do you know? Kansas did not accept that offer. Not only did they not accept, I said Kansas, I meant the Chiefs and the Royals. Not only did the Chiefs and Royals not accept Missouri's offer, at least not yet, they asked Kansas to extend the SAR bonds. The Royals asked Kansas to extend the SAR bonds. They just didn't do it in a formal manner like the Chiefs did. So let me just say this, because a lot of people, including Senator Curtis Gregory, said this at the Senate meeting during the special session. A lot of people are saying if the Chiefs and Royals wanted to leave for Kansas, they would have done it by now. That's what I've heard for the last 6 months. Okay, well, I think part of it is that the two teams want to hear out Missouri's offer. And Missouri, and by the way, Senator Joe Nicola said, and there were other senators who said this as well, you can only hear the audio portion of this. There's no video of it, so you weren't able to hear who it was. But another senator backed up Joe Nicola and said the Kansas offer is better and that they would take the Kansas offer. The Missouri senators admitted this, that the Kansas offer is better. Senator Curtis Gregory even said this as well when he was trying to make this pitch. He was the one sponsoring this bill. Yet, for whatever reason, Missouri still lowballed the two teams. There's a reason why the Chiefs did not accept that offer. Do I think the Chiefs wanted to do everything to try and stay? Sure. But they still lowballed them. And Mark Donovan is talking about all the things that they can do in the state of Kansas. Patrick Tuohy of the Show Me Institute, obviously on the Missouri side, he was on Pete Mundo's show on KCMO Talk Radio this morning, and oh boy, he did not hold back. This guy was given a machine gun and had unlimited rounds. This dude was spitting fire and had a lot to say. Listen to what he had to say.
In interviews with you, Ty Masterson and Dan Hawkins seemed to indicate that they knew what was going on. That's a good sign. I also like that Kansas has not set up their incentive regime in a way that allows them to, give away so much money to teams compared to what Missouri can do. And you talked about that in the last segment. So I was hopeful that Kansas legislators had a spine, but if they extend this, it seems that they don't. And again, it's not surprising, but we've seen this for years.
Well, also, Mark Donovan says in his letter here, the president.
Okay, let me just let you know, I did skip ahead because he kind of rambled a little bit there. But then I decided to fast forward to this part of the interview. And this is Pete Mundo asking a really good question here. Listen to his response.
Presence of an NFL franchise in Kansas will serve as a powerful engine for immediate and long-term growth, driving national attention, sustained tourism, and billions more in private development across the state. What are you saying no to? All the above?
That is all BS. If you look at the gross domestic product of cities that lose teams, they do not change. Stadiums do not drive this kind of economic development. They never do.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there and I'll continue it in just a moment. But if he says stadiums do not drive economic development, then why is Missouri, and I get he's not like the decision maker for Missouri, but why is Missouri fighting hard for the team if he's confident that teams don't drive the economy on a local level? I mean, I've heard nothing but people from Missouri say that their biggest fear if the state loses the Chiefs and the Royals is how this is going to hurt the economy of KCMO and Jackson County. So, sorry, but he absolutely is incorrect on that. Let's continue the rest of this.
You look at Truman Sports Complex as an example. There's one less hotel at least than when I moved here 20 years ago, but they know that that's the claim to make because they know that that's what legislators want to hear. The way you grow an economy is by providing basic services at a low cost to taxpayers. And if you can do that, and if you make yourself a good place to invest, then businesses and entrepreneurs and families come along. You don't grow your economy by hollowing out your tax base for the benefit of billionaires. It doesn't work. And I know I sound like an open record, but St. Louis has 4 downtown stadiums. Baltimore has at least 2 downtown stadiums. Those are not places that people point to as, economic growth powerhouses. We've seen this time and again. We understand that this is all just BS, but I get it. The teams make those promises, and politicians are so desperate to have even a pretend win that they go along with it. So, no, having a team is not going to drive the economy of the area. And certainly if the stadium just moves a few miles from where it is now, how is that regionally going to drive anything? It's not. It's laughable on its face, but we know from history it's absolutely untrue.
All right. So what now? How do you see this playing out, Patrick?
I've got no idea.
Okay, so that's where I cut off the interview there. Him saying that he has no idea how things are going to go. Yeah, Joshua says I agree with him on the billion. Listen, I was talking to Pete's producer this morning about this when I heard that interview. I said, look, I agree with him. I think that billionaires should pay for their own stadium, but that's not reality here. The Cleveland Browns just signed a new deal to go to, I think it's called Brook Park, Ohio. So, I mean, it's still part of the Cleveland metro area, but it's not Cleveland, Ohio. Because I've heard this debate too. Oh, you have to play in KC-Mo. Well, I mean, KCK is Kansas City, but neither here nor there. So I mentioned earlier, like, he's making the argument that stadiums don't drive the economy, and obviously we're talking about a local level here. I'll say it again. If that's the case, then why is Missouri fighting hard for these teams? Here's what I heard from that interview, or his comment specifically. He's basically saying, hey, Kansas, don't do what they want. Give up. Stop fighting for them. Oh, and hey, Chiefs and Royals, just accept our offer. Don't question anything. Don't be upset by the offer. Be happy about it and just take it. Just take it. It's like, you go on a first date with someone and you're just not feeling it. You're like, hey, thanks, but no thanks. And then the other person says, no, you have to be in this relationship. I'm sorry. That is what I got from Patrick Tuohy there. I mean, listen, okay. Ty says, and Ty, you're not the only one who said this, and I don't know if you are part of this or if you're just speaking for people who are saying this. He says, don't think you realize how many old people in I love how you say old people. Don't think you realize how many old people in KC-Mo absolutely hate Kansas with a passion. This goes back generations, sadly. Yeah, I'm aware of this hatred. Listen, I don't understand. As someone that's a naturalized U.S. citizen, I don't understand Americans hating so hard on other American states and cities. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, are there some areas that are unsafe that you would avoid? Yes, I can name some of those spots in Kansas and on the Missouri side. Every part of the country has those areas that you want to avoid. But like, I've never and the whole thing about generations, Ty, that you're mentioning about people who get upset, I think you're just speaking for them, but I don't get it. Like, this isn't the Civil War. This isn't KU versus Mizzou. I mean, they're still going to be in the Kansas City. And by the way, let me just say this, because I've said this before and people are saying, oh, Farzine, that's different. No, it's actually not. I've said this many times, and this has pissed off people from the Missouri side. if you are, ultra pro Missouri, super duper anti Kansas, I guarantee you the people who are super duper anti Kansas has either gone to the Speedway, Sporting KC, Nebraska Furniture Mart, or Joe's Kansas City Barbecue. I guarantee you the people who live on the Missouri side of the Kansas City area have done at least one of those things I mentioned. I mean, come on. Like, who in this metro area has not been to Joe's Kansas City? There are 3 locations all on the Kansas side. Like, come on. Listen, I live in Kansas, but I don't care where they go. I want them to do it right. Renovating a stadium for $1.15 billion does not make a lot of sense. You're just kicking the can down the road. You've already gone through multiple renovations. Okay, yeah, I figured, Ty. That was I wanted to make sure, but I figured that's what you were trying to say there. I don't understand this Kansas-Missouri war. In fact, I don't understand the Kansas City versus St. Louis battle here. Like, I mean, the Royals and the Cardinals are not even in the same league. And for whatever reason, there's this KC Mo versus St. Louis war, right? I don't get it. Why do we all, like, people blame the media, the mainstream media, for creating a divide? No, we as a society do a good job of that ourselves. Come on. My whole thing is, if you're going to spend money, and the renovation price for the Chiefs went up, it went up 30%. Why? I don't know. It sure as hell is not inflation, because inflation did not go up 30%. But for whatever reason, the senators in Missouri did not even bother asking about that price increase. Hey, here's a price hike. We're just not going to question it. I mean, that's how badly they want to try to keep the teams. I mean, I shouldn't say badly, because a lot of senators voted against it, and members of the House, but still no one questioned it, which was weird. And I get it. They don't want to be the senators. Mayor Q does not want to be the mayor. Governor Kehoe does not want to be the governor, who were, as members of in office, that lose the Chiefs and the Royals. I mean, none of them want to be that guy. But boy, you got to step it up. And I guess with Kansas expecting to extend the star bonds, you have time to, I guess, figure out an improvement. I would imagine even Kansas is thinking about trying to up the ante here, just to be able to lock in that deal. Because what did Ty Masterson say in that letter, or not letter, but the statement he issued publicly? He said, we're in the red zone and we're looking across the goal line. So I think there needs to be a couple of things done to be able to cross that goal line. Again, the Truman Sports Complex, it's a great complex. It's just located in a kind of a weird area. It's not an ideal site. There's a reason why John Sherman is done with that and wants out of there. It does sound like the Royals are either Washington Square Park or 119th and Null. I think 119th and Null is kind of an obscure location. I will say this, in terms of land size and parking, 119th and Null is the best spot for it. I think they've got an entertainment district across the street, by the way, not just across the street. Obviously, Town Center, Park Place, they're right beside each other. And even south of the Asperia campus, you have a Johnny's Tavern in that area, because that's what the Royals are going for. They want an entertainment district. For the Chiefs, by the way, a quick note on Washington Square Park. I've said this before, and I'll continue saying it. That is not a good site. I have no idea what you're going to rebuild in that area, but that is a very small part. That's a small drive. If you guys are downtown, go visit Washington Square Park. It is tiny. Listen, I've always drove by it and never thought anything of it. But ever since the talk of Washington Square Park came to light here for the Royals, I just drive past it and I'm like, no, there's no way this would work unless you are able to get a lot of businesses in these buildings to move, which the Royals did not do a good job of for the April 2nd vote last year. That didn't work out when they allegedly claimed that they were negotiating with those crossroads businesses. So whereas 119th and Null, you don't really have to do a lot of negotiating. And they, by the way, they've confirmed they own the land on that property, the mortgage, that is. So I don't know. Like, I feel like the Royals and 119th and Null is a lock at this point. The Chiefs, I don't know, man. Like, maybe 50-50 with the edge to Kansas right now. And I say it because of that letter. I would have not said that otherwise. I mean, Mark Donovan had a lot. It was just, it really like, here, let me put it like this. If someone was in a coma and they woke up on that day and they read that letter that Mark Donovan sent to Ty Masterson, I would have been like, dude, they sound like they want to go to Kansas. And I get, this summer, the information on these things, it's been moving fast, and now it's kind of died down here because I guess the Chiefs and Royals have a year, though Ty Masterson has said we prefer to have this locked up before the end of 2025. And he's right. I mean, listen, you've got to spend some time building those stadiums. People have said, what's the hurry? The contracts on those stadiums don't expire until 2030 or 2031. Folks, you can't just wait for 2030 or 2029 and be like, oh, yeah, we're done. Let's go to a new state. Oh, yeah, build it right there, ready to go. No, like, you have to plan this well in advance. And I do feel like both teams, I don't want to say they're running out of time, but you've got to make a decision real fast. I mean, this is like writing a 10-page paper for a college course, and your deadline is coming up in less than a week. I mean, you can't write all those 10 pages that fast, assuming you have other classes and a full-time job, you're a working student. You have to start putting the legs to this thing at work here. Yeah, I mean, if the Chiefs, Joshua says, I don't like kicking the can down the road. If the Chiefs do renovate, okay, they save some money in the process, I suppose, but you're going to revisit this conversation again in 20 to 30 years. Clark Hunt's 60. I would imagine Clark Hunt wants to witness a Super Bowl at least once in this potential new stadium of his that he would get. That's a big reason why I think they might make this move, is that Clark Hunt wants to be able to be alive to see this thing happen, because it was his father's vision for a Super Bowl to come to Kansas City. Man, now maybe his father was not fond of the idea of an indoor stadium, but listen, times change, whether we like it or not. People also are comparing this to Lambeau, and okay, Lambeau is not Arrowhead. I mean, I love Arrowhead. I'm biased, obviously, but listen, man, a lot of things are replaceable in our world today, even Lambeau and Wrigley Field. And I know people are also making the big deal about how outdoor teams are better than indoor teams. Okay. I had someone on Twitter argue this with me, and he mentioned that here are the teams that have the most Super Bowls. He mentioned Pittsburgh, outdoor team. And then he also mentioned, second, the Patriots, outdoor team. Folks, let me just ask a very simple question. This is not meant to be a gotcha question. Do you think the Patriots won 6 Super Bowls because they're an outdoor team? No. They won 6 Super Bowls because they had this guy named Tom freaking Brady. I'm sure you've heard of him. Listen, the Patriots did not have a single Super Bowl before Tom Brady, and they live in Boston, where it gets cold as shit in the wintertime. Buffalo is a very cold weather city. They should, I mean, if it was really all about, which team has the advantage in the cold, Buffalo should have a trophy case full of Lombardis by now. Ever since the NFL merger, the Packers only have 2 Super Bowls. Now, that's still more than a lot of franchises out there. But if the argument here is cold weather is a major advantage, well, Green Bay should have way more than 2 since the merger, 4 altogether. Yeah, Joshua says the Niners are an outdoor team. Yeah. and they're in a warmer climate. You agree, by the way? Like, I think people make such a big deal about weather in football games. Weather is not the reason teams win or lose. The Miami Dolphins did not get their ass kicked in Arrowhead that one year in the playoffs because of weather. Did you not see Miami and their record against teams with a winning record? It was not good. They beat up on bad teams, teams below 500, and they lost to everyone that had a winning record except for the Cowboys. And look at Miami this past year. Miami just isn't a good team, especially when facing better competition. Has nothing to do with weather. I truly do believe in sports, the most overrated aspect in a football game is weather. I've said this many, many times. I mean, the Raiders were in LA and Oakland for the longest time. They managed to come up with 3 Super Bowls. I can't remember what city they were in when they had those 3 Super Bowls, or if they ever won 1 in Oakland and 2 in LA. I don't know. But, and then the whole dome thing, like, I mean, the Rams are a dome team. They just won a Super Bowl not too long ago. Look, it gets pretty cold in Kansas City, but Kansas City had not won a single Super Bowl since the merger prior to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, they're a cold weather team. Why were they winning Lombardi trophies before then? Oh, that's right. It has nothing to do with the weather. It's because you have Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. That's why the Chiefs are as good as they are now. It's not because of the weather. And by the way, the argument that, listen, do I believe there are some people who will turn their back and not cheer for the Chiefs again? Sure, I guess. But you'll still have a fan base, especially if the Chiefs are still competitive. And look, a lot can happen 6 years from now. We have no idea who the quarterback will be in 6 years. I hope it's Patrick Mahomes. Hopefully he continues to have a good and a long career. We don't know. It's likely he'll be on the tail end by the time this stadium is built, potentially. But we don't know what kind of a football team they'll be. If the Chiefs are still a very competitive football team, because 6 years ago, if you told me they'd still be very, very competitive and elite for 6 years, I would not have believed you. If the Chiefs are still playing at this level, no one's turning their back on the Chiefs. And seriously, who are going to root for? The Raiders, who are probably still going to be without a playoff win going close to 30 years by that point? I mean, come on. Who would you root for at that point? The other thing is, people are talking about how Arrowhead's the loudest stadium and all. Yeah, I get that. And you would lose that. Listen, you're going to lose something no matter what you do. If you decide to renovate, well, you lose your shot at a Super Bowl and other premier events. If you go to the Dome, well, then you lose some history, and a lot of people are going to be sad and they'll miss it. I'm not going to dismiss that. But the idea of, oh, it's not going to be loud anymore. Well, first of all, it's going to be in a dome. Second of all, not only is Arrowhead the loudest stadium in the NFL, not to get into college sports too much, but Allen Fieldhouse is the loudest arena in college basketball. And that's located in Lawrence, Kansas, not too far from Kansas City. I mean, a lot of the people who go to games in Lawrence, Kansas live in the Kansas City area. So I think the whole, loud passion, that'll still be there. The Chiefs had a survey, and I think Sam McDowell of the Kansas City Star said that 27,000 people took this survey, and they were asking, what do you want in terms of renovation or a new stadium? The top 3 things people wanted were parking, the ability to tailgate, and I think to have that loud atmosphere. Well, I guarantee you, if you build a new stadium in Kansas or wherever, the Chiefs will absolutely make sure there's a massive parking lot and a place where you can tailgate. That will not go away. They will find a way to make that happen. As far as the atmosphere, I mean, people who are making the argument that it won't be loud in Kansas, why? Do people lose their ability to shout and yell in Kansas? Like that doesn't make any sense. I haven't seen that argument. Look, I'm not trying to shit on Arrowhead. We all love Arrowhead. No one's ever going to say, if you're a Chiefs fan, no one's going to say anything bad about Arrowhead. But it is old. It's coming up on 54 years old. just be aware of that. As far as reasons to keep it in Missouri, I'm not hearing the Missouri crowd give any business reasons. All they're giving is, Arrowhead and the mystique and the history and the emotional, and it's Clark Hunt's father's stadium. Listen, man, Lamar Hunt gave this stadium to Clark Hunt knowing that, hey, this is your baby now, and if changes ever need to be made, you're the one that I'm giving it to. By the way, let me ask you something, because a lot of people say that this is Lamar Hunt's deal and his stadium and it should never be taken away. Okay, but let me ask this. And again, this is not meant to be a gotcha question. Lamar Hunt believed that AFC and NFC title games should be played on a neutral playing site. In other words, whoever's participating in the AFC or NFC title game there should not be a home team. Do you think Lamar Hunt would agree to that today? I mean, I don't know the guy. I never met the guy, so I can't say. But I would like to believe he would hate to see Arrowhead miss out on these 6 AFC championship games that they've hosted. Obviously, I'm going to 7 straight, hosting 6 of them, 5 of them consecutively. There just would not be. I mean, there just would not be any logical way to look at it. Now, obviously, opinions can change when things like that happen. By the way, the comment about his daughter wanting a new stadium, I don't know why you're saying that, but I'm chuckling because somebody commented on my Facebook page and they showed that Gracie Hunt, she at one point, because she's involved in modeling and pageantry, she at one point was Miss Kansas. Now, I'm not saying that's going to determine what the Chiefs are going to do, but I thought that was funny that people brought that up, because people think that somebody once told me that, Clark Hunt lives in Missouri. No, he doesn't. He lives in Texas. He lives in Texas. So yeah, just be aware of that. By the way, some of the comments here, people are talking about grass. They could do what Allegiant Stadium does, where they roll that outdoors and let the grass, grow and do its own thing. The problem is, and I've been to Allegiant Stadium many times. In fact, I'm actually going to Allegiant Stadium this week for a concert. It's a great stadium, but my God, that field is total shit. It looks like a bunch of animals were let loose and they just took a dump all over the field. It is the worst kept grass in the NFL. Awful. I mean, I have no idea how the NFL allows teams to let their turf look like that. I mean, I don't know. But the Chiefs, there's always been a lot of positive, glowing reviews about the Chiefs grounds crew. So I'm sure they'll figure out a way to make that work out in a way. And I did see the comment about the retractable roof. Yeah, that is certainly going to be important as well. Yeah, this ended up being a much longer podcast than anticipated. And I obviously, that's thanks to the interaction here. So let me quickly read a couple of Instagram comments. I know I don't read a lot of those. Jenny says, regarding stadium, if it is moved, the cost will be astronomical for season tickets. Our family would not be able to afford them. I don't have season tickets. I mean, I go to a game here and there. I will say this. I did see a lot of Chiefs fans respond when the prices for season tickets went up. Yeah. Listen, prices for these things are always going to go up, especially when the Chiefs are so good. I've had there have been a few complaints when the Royals were really good in 2015. One big complaint was that even the cheap seats were far more expensive than they were in years past. Listen, man, when you're a good team, there really isn't going to be much of an option for cheap seats unless you're sitting all the way in the rafters, all the way in the back, because that's just the way things work. Listen, man, in my lifetime living in the Kansas City area, the most successful team, college or pro, has been KU basketball. There's a reason why KU basketball sells out every single time. I know this past year was a horrible year for KU hoops, but in general, like generally speaking, KU Hoops has always been top tier. Their tickets are always expensive because they win all the damn time. So when you're winning as much as the Chiefs are right now, yeah, you're going to have a lot of expensive tickets. Ticket prices have gone up a lot lately. And I've had a few people have even brought this up even before the stadium conversation. Chiefs tickets are going up. Yeah, because the team's winning a lot now. So I'm not dismissing your season ticket complaint there. But the reality is, number one, prices for everything go up over the years. They just do. And if the Chiefs are still playing very well, yeah, they're going to remain to be excited. Yeah, somebody was asking me, how can we send a message to the Chiefs? How can we get ticket prices to be lowered? I'm just being dead honest with you guys. The only way is if the team starts to play like shit. If they start playing like 2012. I remember in 2012 when the Chiefs were the worst team in the NFL and K-State at one point had the number 1 seed in college football. One of the local TV stations, I think it was Channel 9, they compared the cheapest Chiefs ticket, which was like $10, and they compared it to the most expensive, or I'm sorry, the cheapest K-State ticket, which was like 130 something. I mean, there you go, man. And I remember that 2012 K-State team. I thought they were on their way to a national title. I really did. When you are good, your tickets will be expensive. I know that was not really supposed to be the point of this argument or this conversation, rather, but I know that has been brought up in the last couple of weeks here. But that's really the way things work for you. Yeah, Josh said it best: supply and demand. There you go. Not go to the games. Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs could do another price hike right now on July the 2nd, and people would still go as long as the team's doing well. That's it. Plain and simple. Hey, we covered a lot here on this podcast. I appreciate you guys joining me. I will be in the desert that is Las Vegas, Nevada for the 4th of July weekend. I've been there many times for the 4th of July holiday weekend. It's actually a really good time there. So I'm going to be going there. I will be at Allegiant Stadium. So speaking of stadiums, I'll be there for a concert. So yeah, I'll drop in and say hello from the stadium. You guys can make whatever comment you want there. I may make a harmless joke that might upset some Raiders fans, so be on the lookout for that. That may or may not come your way this holiday weekend. Once again, have a safe 4th of July weekend. Have some fun. Drink some beer. Get some hot dogs, some burgers. Please, 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 please be safe. I don't want to be anyone's father here, but I'm going to say it anyway. Please be safe. Enjoy it. I will talk to you all next Wednesday. Take care.